Hey everybody, Chris Peters from FloHockey here with another scouting report for the 2024 NHL Draft. And today we're going to focus on one of the big stars of the USHL this season, Sacha Boisvert of the Muskegon Lumberjacks. And what a season it was for Boisvert, a two-way center, 6'2", definitely a guy that has come into his own a little bit more in the USHL. Let's take a look at the numbers that he put up this season before we get into the scouting report. 61 games played, 36 goals, 32 assists, 68 points, good for 11th in the USHL. He had 86 penalty minutes as well as he got a little feistier in his draft eligible season. Another thing that is really exciting about Sacha Boisvert is that this is a guy that has size, he's got skating ability, he's got all those tools, and he's going to be on a little bit of a longer development timeline as well. He's headed to the University of North Dakota, which is going to be a place where he could really round out his game, continue to get stronger, probably spend a couple of years there, and that's been a pro factory. There have been a lot of players that have come through that program, and when you get to the NHL comparable that I'll give you a little bit later, you'll understand why I'm a little excited that he's going to North Dakota, because I do think that this is going to be a hand-to-glove kind of fit for him in terms of his development. But let's take a look at just the scouting report and why teams are really excited about Sacha Boisvert, especially as the potential of a late round, first round draft pick in a draft where, you know, the excitement kind of wanes a little bit as you get further down. But I think that there's enough upside here that teams that are picking later in the first are going to be really enticed to get a player of Boisvert's caliber. So what does he do? He does a little bit of everything. I think the versatility is a real attractive trait. The fact that he's a 6'2" center with some skating ability and length is really good because he's able to play a little bit more defensively. He's got a good stick. He's engaged on the defensive end of the puck. He's engaged off the puck. There are times where I think his compete level can wane a little bit, and that's when you kind of start to see some of the sag in his game. But when he's on it, he's really, really good. And so the top of his game is a really impressive one. And it's one that I think as he continues to build consistency of game over game, shift over shift, that'll come with age and a little bit more maturity. I think that that's going to be a guy that's going to play at both ends of the ice and be very effective in that way. But he's also a goal scorer. 36 goals scored in the USHL this season. He's got a great shot. He's really good to score off the rush. He can get to the interior. He can get close to the net. He can beat defenders one-on-one. He's got good hand skills in that way. You know, I think that he's probably, the vision isn't always there. I think that's something that has stood out in terms of, you know, he's a shoot-first player. He's not going to necessarily be that as big of a shot pass threat, though he did have plenty of assists this season. I think that that's one thing that he'll have to continue to work on, being a little bit more deceptive, being a little bit more willing to distribute. Not that he's necessarily a puck hog or anything like that. I just think that, you know, making better plays, making better decisions with the puck will only help him as he progresses. But as I mentioned, off the puck, I don't have a lot of concerns about his game. I think he plays very engaged and he's able to make plays defensively and get pucks up ice. And so that's a really key thing as well. I think he's an above average skater, especially a guy at 6'2". You like to see that. You like to see the fluidity in his game. I think there's an easiness to him and the easiness to his offensive game. He's not going to dazzle you with big moves and flashy puck skills, but he has that in his arsenal if he needs it. So that's something that you see him break out every once in a while, and that's a good thing too. So I think the top of Boisvert's game is really where I get excited, because when we've seen his best games in the USHL, that's a player that looks like, you know, he could potentially have some top six upside. Now, where does he slot in as an NHL player? I think it's more likely he's a middle six center, possibly a number 3 center, a guy that's going to play at both ends of the ice, a guy that's going to provide scoring depth. There's always the chance that, hey, we like that scoring ability. We aren't as impressed with the defensive ability. Let's move him to the wing. That's always possible as well. But I think him going to North Dakota, rounding out his defensive game even more, building strength, I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with as he develops. So I really like the upside in this player. When we look at NHL comparables, and the reason that I think if you're a North Dakota fan, you should be a little bit excited, is the guy that I have as an NHL comparable for him is Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders, a North Dakota alum, a guy that was picked late in the first round and has put together a really tremendous NHL career. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the NHL. I've been really impressed with his maturation as a pro. So Boisvert, why does he like that? You know, I think that two-way capability, that goal-scoring sense, the shot that he has, all traits that I think Brock Nelson has in a similar frame as well, because Brock Nelson has that kind of lankiness to him, and it's really aided him in his NHL career, and it's one of the reasons why I think people viewed him as having that kind of upside. So I'm really excited about where Sacha Boisvert can go. I do think that it'll probably be in the mid to late 20s of the NHL draft where Boisvert will be picked. There is the potential that he goes a little bit higher than that, but I do think that we're going to see him in the latter third of the first round. I don't think he'll get into the second round. There's always the slim chance that it happens based on the way the picks go, but I really do think this is a first round prospect, a major talent, a guy that is only going to get better, and I really like where his game is headed, and certainly we'll be tracking him closely when he goes to the University of North Dakota. That's going to do it for today's scouting report. Stay tuned for many more on FloHockey on our YouTube page and FloHockey.tv.